Hi guys, I am Utanda White and I am a junior studying animal science here at Iowa State University. As I have gotten older and I have gained more work experience underneath my belt, I have witnessed the glass ceiling effect firsthand. This presentation has a lot of meaning to not only me, but my group members as well, and we are hoping that we can inform you guys a little more over this topic, and hopefully we can all make a change one of these days.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie O'Hare and I'm a junior here at Iowa State University studying animal science. I'm excited to speak to you a little bit today about the glass ceiling effect.
Good afternoon. Today we are going to be discussing the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is defined as an intangible barrier within a hierarchy that prevents women or minorities from obtaining upper level positions. The glass ceiling is seen as a metaphor for the decades of unconscious bias that created limitations in the workplace. So, to put the glass ceiling into a visual, we have this picture here of a man and a woman, both on ladders, reaching for a star. The star is going to be symbolic of a goal, a position, anything that they are willing to achieve in the workplace. And you can see that they're at the same height, but the female has a glass ceiling above her, showing that she can't necessarily reach her goal or position or whatever she's striving for because the glass ceiling is a barrier in her way, and you can see that the male will most likely be able to reach his star because he doesn't have one in his way. And so this just puts the glass ceiling into a visual representation so that people can see how it actually plays out. So for our project, our thesis statement is the glass ceiling can be shattered by bringing awareness to the issue, educating the society about signs and symptoms, and providing real tools to reduce the unconscious bias that leads to discrimination in the workplace.
So, as my team member Haley just told you, a little bit about what the glass ceiling is and gave a great definition and explanation of it as a visual. I'm going to go a little bit more into what exactly is the glass ceiling and what is the evidence that shows that it exists. So, with that, I found an interesting and important fact that depicts this issue, with that being only 4.8% of Fortune 500 companies having women CEOs. With that, when women are promoted throughout an organization and they seem to be moving up the ladder, they still are at a higher risk of failing with every step that they take. If they do fail, they are typically replaced then by white males, and that adds to the negative connotation around women leaders. More specifically, this is referred to in research articles as the savior effect. In addition, women and minorities are generally viewed as dependable, warm, and personable, but at the same time, they're less likely than males to self promote. If they are given an opportunity to advance, likely more than not, they will say yes because they realize how rare of an opportunity that might be without taking into consideration the long term effects and making negotiations for their careers. While researching, I came across another interesting aspect of the glass ceiling, and this comes from a woman named Wendy Kai Lee, who is a banker that is now running her own investment firm. She referred to women in business as being viewed as dependable backups. I think this just goes to show exactly the presence of the glass ceiling, whether or not people realize that it's truly a glass ceiling in their organization. I had the opportunity to interview Deanna Collins, who is a professional in the veterinary medicine industry. Collins stated that, quote, the glass ceiling is real for women looking to practice medicine. There is clear discrimination in the fact that these women have to start their families later in life, they cannot perform the same physical abilities as men, are under more pressure to create the ideal work life balance, and still get paid or are recognized less than men while doing it.
Who is impacted by the glass ceiling, and how can you identify one within your organization? So first, we want to identify the who. When we're talking about the glass ceiling, the people that we are talking about are women, minorities, and people of color. Oftentimes, people who are restricted by the glass ceiling are going to be women in leadership positions with strong personality traits. A lot of times, people gain negative perceptions of females in leadership positions because they have strong personality traits. They are determined, they are hardworking, and they are going to let their voices be heard. a lot of times when this happens, other people in the workplace may think that they are being bossy or rude, and they're going to flip these positive traits into negative ones. And the impact of this is that they're less likely to be invited to out of office events, golfing events, any type of leadership, team building activities among the workplace, and it just creates an overall negative atmosphere. How can we identify and prevent the glass ceiling in the workplace? The first thing that we need to do here is we need to familiarize ourselves with it and understand that it exists. The glass ceiling may not be something that affects you directly, may not be present directly in your workplace, but it's something that it exists and has the potential to exist in your work environment. We want to reflect and ask questions if certain challenges reoccur in the workplace. If you see or you feel as if opportunities are continually being surpassed for you and you aren't able to reach goals or accomplishments, positions that you feel as if you're qualified for or more qualified than other people, start asking questions. Have a conversation with your manager about your concerns. If you let them know that you feel as if you're being treated unfairly or you're not getting things that you rightfully deserve, and their response is, well, that's just the way that it's done, or that's how it's always been done, you might want to recognize this as a red flag and work to advocate for yourself. For companies that are looking to prevent the glass ceiling, we want to incorporate diversity and inclusion assessments. Given that women and minorities are the ones that are facing this, you want to give these assessments to them and you want them to kind of show you how they feel. Everyone should also receive the assessments to see how everyone in the workplace feels, but we want to mainly see how the who of the glass ceiling is being affected. If they feel like they're not getting certain jobs and they're not being able to reach their career goals, kind of figure out how you as the company can aid them in being fulfilled. Again, we want to also focus on positive achievements for women and everyone. We don't want the glass ceiling to only focus on women, minorities, people of color. We want, as a company, to push everyone up and we want everyone to be able to be successful, but we just want to make sure that women are getting a fair chance as well. If we can create an equal playing field for everyone that allows everyone to have an equal chance at an opportunity, then we are doing a good job as an organization. I had the opportunity to interview Alexa McClellan. She is a floral designer at Hy-Vee, and she was able to sit down and talk with me about the glass ceiling. When I sat down and talked with her, I asked her a lot about if she thought the glass ceiling was something that she experienced in the workplace. Given that she was a part-time employee, she expressed to me that she didn't quite think that the glass ceiling was something that affected her, given that she wasn't really trying to advance her career in Hy-Vee. However, she did explain to me as we were talking about the glass ceiling that she thinks that after a lot of thought that she has seen a lot of males in her workplace being pushed towards manager positions or pushed to have higher achievements than the females in the workplace. And she kind of thanked me after the interview and was like, thank you for showing me that the glass ceiling is something that I do experience, and this is just a prime example that the glass ceiling doesn't need to affect you for it to be relevant in your workplace.
So, what are the serious impacts of the glass ceiling? There are many impacts that can happen to an individual, and it truly depends on the circumstance at that time. I'm going to discuss 3 of the most important impacts that everyone goes through, especially the women. The first point I want to make is that jobs are strictly ran by men, and women are only the assistants and they're just in the background. As mentioned by Kathleen, less than 5% of the Fortune 500 companies are ran by women. It isn't because women are incapable or incapable of running the company or the fact that they aren't smart enough. This is just a prime example of the glass ceiling effect, and anytime you hear about this effect, this fact is going to be the first fact thrown at you almost every single time, guaranteed. It's because we are trying to show you guys and trying to convey to you guys that this is a problem we need to fix. The next point I want to make out to you guys is that the glass ceiling doesn't allow for diversity or inclusion in the workplace. Women's voices aren't heard. When it comes to implementing, in a new company and strategies or in policies or anything throughout the company, their voices are just echoes. No one can hear them. This causes many women to feel like a ghost in the background or less superior than what they truly are. This then leads me to my last point. Since women don't feel welcomed in the company, then their satisfaction with the job drastically lowers, and their advancement in the company then reduces as well. When men are always on top, women perform mediocre work. And because they do this because they know that they have no chance in climbing up that ladder. This leads to poor performance for the company. And as a business owner, no one wants that. So this brings me to what we can do in order to shatter this glass ceiling effect. There are many things like practicing inclusive language. This means that you're including everyone. You're not just signaling out him or her. It's you all. We're all going to do this together. Then there's implementing diversity along with an inclusion committee or an inclusion group in the workplace. There's being responsible for your own personal and professional development. So letting people know when you've done a good job and speak up when you've done a good job and let people know that. Don't let other people take credit for what you have done. There's also being patient, yet assertive with your goals. And speaking up not only for yourself, as mentioned before, but for others. So if you see someone else doing a good job, let him or her know that. So I had interviewed Dr. Howard Tyler, who is the Assistant Dean of College of Agriculture and Life Sciences here at Iowa State University. And when I had asked him what he was trying to do in order to bring more awareness to the glass ceiling effect, he had stated, "My goals are to have an impact on a broader scale, to change how our college, our university, and other universities approach student mentoring and student support." In other words, he believes that if we educate all the students, males and females, then we'll hopefully see a change in the future.
As our presentation comes to a close, I want to remind you of a few things we have discussed today. With that being said, the glass ceiling is an important issue that the next generation will have to address. It's more important now than ever to take into consideration what part you play in these stereotypes and examples that we went through. We hope you found some tactics that help break the glass ceiling that you can start using today. We would like to leave you with this closing statement. You have the opportunity to be a part of shattering the glass ceiling. Now that you know what it is, who it affects, and the serious implications it has, you can use the tools mentioned today to create and inspire real change. We hope you enjoyed our presentation today. If you had any questions, please direct them to the emails listed above. The remainder of this presentation will include our sources that were cited throughout today's video. Thanks for watching.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So show me